Hey, what's going on YouTube? Find Some Green here. And today I want to talk to you about how to prepare for Team Affinity Chapter 2 for Season 2 and how to get Chapter 2 done fast. So, let's see. First thing that we're going to talk about is going to be actually part of Chapter 1. And it's Chapter 2 in Season 1. Okay, so the first thing that we need to discuss is the fact that there is a good probability that during Chapter 2 of Season 2, they're going to give us choice packs, just like they did in Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 of Season 1. All right, and what you're going to want to do is, I can't tell you which cards they're going to give us, but anything you don't have locked down, you might want to consider selling. Now, they gave us the Soul Series and the Spring Breakout packs the first time. Okay, and then they gave us the Show Classics and the Pipeline packs the second time. I don't think we'll get any Vault packs yet because it's still a little early, but they might juice the program a bit considering that football's coming out soon. But basically what I'm saying is, there's a good chance that you're probably going to see the London Series pack, okay? And in that London Series pack, you're going to be looking at Harper and Nimmo and I can't pronounce his name, and I'm not even going to try. Vientos and Dahl. All right, so their prices are most likely going to tank. I don't think he's going to be 29,000 come Friday, and I don't think he's going to be 17, and I don't think he's going to be 17, and I doubt Harper's going to be in the 30s, and I doubt Nimmo's going to be, just around 30. They're probably going to drop pretty hard because the set one guys from the Spring Breakout program and the Soul Series, they fell through the floor damn near down to quick sell. And if they didn't hit quick sell, most of them actually hit quick sell, at least the base round. But that rare round, it still got down within like $2 or $3 grand to quick sell. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see that pack in there. And then I wouldn't be surprised to see I don't know if they call it the incognito pack or not, or whatever the hell they call that pack. It's the one that's got Carl Edwards, this one, with Gomes and Willie Adames. And I don't know if it'll be the Willie Adames pack. Odds are it's not going to be the Willie Adames pack. It'll probably be the one. It'll be the one that holds like Carl Edwards and Garrett Cooper and Lamont Wade Jr. and then those guys, right? But essentially, odds are those cards are probably going to crash. So if you're holding them, like Garrett Cooper right now is 17,000 and Carl Edwards is 24. And I don't quite understand why Edwards is so high. His pitch mix is just junk, but maybe there's something I don't know. It's possible. That said, that's like the big thing, right? The big thing there is going to be trying to figure out what cards they're going to put or what packs they're going to put in that reward path and get out and cash out as much as you can. That way you can jump back in. And then when you jump back in, you might want to try to grab some as cheap as possible because the market will bounce back up a little bit. It's not going to go back crazy high again, but there will be a little bit of room there to make some stubs out of that. So there's that. The next thing that you should be doing is you could do your March to October. I know I keep talking about March to October, but I don't do it. I know I should, but I don't. I don't have time or I don't feel like playing. Unfortunately, the game and the state of the game where it's at right now, I get on, I play a game or two, whether it be BR events, possibly ranked, and then I'm like, that was fun. I won, and I don't know if I want to do another one or not. And then I usually don't. So I guess there's that. But anyway, that's a whole different conversation with player retention and, different ways to incentivize us to actually play this game because, whatever. Like I said, different conversation. So we're not going to get any further into that. But you should be buying up your 74s, just like we usually talk about. Cedric Mullins, I don't have any of him, but the reason why I don't have any of him is because I have like 400 from the guy from Boston. Yeah, I have 400 Slaytons. Yoshida's a little high right now. I wouldn't go with it after him. But essentially, yeah, any 74s, they're your cheapest way to complete the collection. And when I say that, you'll get them hopefully under 35. Obviously closer to 26 or 25 is the best you can do. As you can see, I got a bunch of Corey Lee and Mike Levinger. I've got a bunch of what's his face, Tim Herron. I got a bunch of Vierling and Matt Manning. And yeah, I'm set with just about every division that I can. You might want to consider buying 78s to flip. You could get them relatively close to quick sell. I know it comes up in other videos that sometimes the 78s don't go as high. There's a couple things there. One, they're not going to immediately spike. They're is you need to have time to get rid of inventory. Okay, so right now, let's say that there was a super juiced Pudge Rodriguez card, and I know Pudge isn't the best example because of the fact that for whatever reason they typically don't give him a great swing, but let's suspend reality and say Pudge has a fantastic swing. His 97 retro all-star card is bananas, right? Well, right now, before Shelby Miller's card can go up, you have to clear, there's at least 145 orders right here between 213 and 239. So it's going to take time for these orders to dissipate. It's going to take time for the market to absorb all the orders that are under, that really nice threshold of like the 400 stubs that we're really shooting for. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but just because it didn't happen immediately doesn't mean that it won't happen. And when I say that, if a division gets a whole bunch of crappy guys, like who had a crappy, let's see, who had a crappy division for Team Affinity this time around? Was it the... Nah, I mean, I can't remember which division had like no movement, to be honest. But I remember one of the divisions was pretty bad. I think it actually might have been the AL Central. The point being is that if you don't have any good cards, then there's not going to be really anything to move that market, right? Because that's the whole thing. Not specifically season 1 or season 2 or chapter 1 for this, but season 3. Okay, season 3 for the AL West, everybody went nuts because of Eduardo Escobar. Like, they went absolutely bananas. The market on these cards went through the roof. They absolutely did, because between him and then Sheffield, to a certain extent, it was a very sought-after division. So people were trying to complete it as fast as possible. The National League East didn't have nearly as much movement because the cards weren't nearly as good. The AL East had some movement because of the fact that Brad Miller's card was fantastic, and then you had Brian Roberts sitting there as well, who wasn't a terrible card. It really just depends who they give us. But with everyone being 97s, I'm hoping that they give us some decent cards to play with, and then you should see significant movement with these cards. The whole thing is, if you're getting close to quick sell, you're either putting yourself out there for anywhere between 1 to 10 stubs a card. And if you buy 100 of them, you're on the hook for what? At 10 stubs, you're on the hook for 1,000 stubs. If you just turn on a quick sell everything back, you could do that. I'm not telling you should do that, but you could do that if you find that nothing's moving the way you want. Otherwise, you can go in and let's go back to Detroit real quick. Your worst case scenario is you take that guy from the Tigers and you're listing him for 213, or you're listing him for 200, and then you're going to go back 180. And if you bought him at 130, you make 50, which, yeah, I know 50 sucks. 50 is not really what we're looking for at all. But if you had 100 of them, you still make 5,000, and making 5,000 is better than losing 1,000. All right, I think there will be some movement here because of the fact that, unlike I won't say years past, because even though it feels like years, because they keep resetting us every 90 days. If you were to go to who's got a card that we used to buy, let's go to the Cardinals. We'll go to Colton Wong. Okay, so everybody and their brother, we used to buy Colton Wong, right? The reason why we buy Colton Wong is because you get him for dirt cheap. Not anymore, because now that season 1's gone, they didn't introduce any of these cards into season 2 for us to pick up and use for exchanges. But this card used to be incredibly cheap because of where his quick sell value was. Like, you could get an 84 for 750 stubs, but he still had the same exchange value as a 1,500 stub card. Now, again, you wouldn't use him for the exchange because what you're paying for him, it didn't make any sense. But his price used to double. So you bought him at 750, and then you could sell him for 1,500. You could sell him for 1,700. You could sell him for 1,900, 2,000, or even 1,200. Those cards don't exist this time around. So anybody who's looking to go through quick, they're probably looking at 78s, and they're probably looking at 79s. Okay, and again, your 78s, if you're getting them for 140 or less, it's not that hard to sell them and move them. Your 79s, your quick sell on 79s is, I think, 150. pretty sure it's 150. It'd be great if I could find a 79 that I have one. So yeah, let's do this, guys. So let's go quick sell 1. Yeah, so it's 150, right? He's a little on the high side from what I want. I really wouldn't want it to be more than 175. Point being is, though, the Dodgers get somebody good, his price is going to inflate. There's no way that it won't. There's no way that it won't. I don't see how it couldn't. You know, judging off of season 1's kind of hard because who the hell wanted, 89s? Or I shouldn't say season 1. I should say chapter 1 of season 2. Like I said, this whole reset thing is just bananas. Yeah, so that's essentially that. Sorry if it's a little jumbled and scatterbrained, but anyway, you're looking for 78s and 79s to flip. You're looking for 74s to use for your exchanges, and you're going to want to make sure that you're selling any cards that you think might show up in those packs. Now, in terms of getting everything done fast, the best thing that I can tell you to do, okay, I don't want to say whether you're online or offline grinding. It's obviously going to be infinitely easier, I think, for the offline grinders let's go back to Team Affinity. If you go, let's say I wanted to knock out the East as fast as possible, and I get to my pack, because that first pack is, I think it's 60 points. Yeah, so the first pack is 6 points. The first guy that I'm going to take is Ryan Yarbrough. Okay, I'm always taking the pitcher first. And the reason why I'm always taking the pitcher first is because it's just 10Ks. Right? So essentially what's going to happen is it's worth 10,000 points. So every time you get 10Ks, it's worth 10,000 points. So what I'm going to do is, right, if we do the exchanges, and then we do either it's extreme moments or moments, and we do the showdown extreme, which they seem they're going to keep giving us, then I'm going to be at 60 with all these teams. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I take a pitcher each time. Okay. And then he's going to have the same mission, because they always have the same type of mission. So when you single player missions, it's going to be Ks with bosses, and he needs 10, which means for every single game that I play just against the computer, not including mini seasons, not including conquest, but just the games against the computer, if I went and played the CPU, I can get 10 strikeouts with this boss, I can get 10 strikeouts with the other boss, and boom, I'm on to the next one, and boom, I'm on to the next one, and boom, I'm on to the next one. Okay, and each one of those is going to be worth 10. And then it's not just going to be that, though, right? Because they also count these versus play with their versus computer. So it's only worth 5,000, but technically speaking, as you can see, obviously I did the 10, I'm sitting on 10, So when I go and play the next game, then I'm going to do another 10, and then that one's going to be up to 20. But I'm still going to have 20,000 TA points for this division, and I'm sitting at 10, or I'm sorry, I'm sitting at 20. And then what I'll do is I'll make sure I'm carrying one pitcher from this division and one pitcher from another division that can either fulfill those extra 5 strikeouts for this one and fulfill the 5 strikeouts for that one, or I'm just going to roll with one of the other pitchers I have from one of the other divisions, and it'll work a little bit slower. But then I'm just continuously knocking these out until I get to the next one. And then when I get to the next one, then I'm going to take a hitter. And then you just keep repeating the process. And essentially you're just stacking on top of every single one of them. It stacks on stacks on stacks. And it goes through really, really, really quick. There are guys that'll knock the whole thing out in 10, 12 hours. There are guys that knock it out over just the course of one weekend. I like to let it simmer for a little bit, and I will get the guys that I absolutely want, and then I'll continue to play through and get there more organically. You don't have to speed play it. The only way I would tell you to consider speed playing it is if in the event they give us some sort of really juicy collection reward where you're going to need all 30 guys from Team Affinity, and this guy is definitely going to be worth it. Now, it's kind of tough to say anybody's going to be worth it, considering that you're going to have maybe 60 days before he's going to have to be a wild card. But again, it really depends who it is. Like if it's not going to be Trout, and it won't be Griffey. I'm not sure who it's going to be. But I'm sure there could be somebody that's definitely worth everyone's time to go and do that. Anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. To recap, anybody that you think may be in the reward path as a pack, please, if you don't have him locked in already, sell him. I can't promise who they're going, or I shouldn't say who. I can't promise what pack's going to be in there. If I had to bet, I'd say it'd be the first Incognito pack, or whatever the hell they call it, and that London Series pack. Those would be my guesses. They may give us a second set of packs just because they might juice up the reward path. Although I'm not sure how far off course they're willing to deviate, because they seem like they have their head in the ground as to what's about to happen around them. But maybe they surprise us. When I say that, I know that a lot of people don't think college football is going to have a giant impact, but given how bad this year seems like it's gone based on what Twitter says and all the comments that are out there on Twitter, there's a lot of people looking forward to college football. It's been a decade. Now, enough about that. Yeah, sell off any cards you know have locked down that you think might be in the packs. Grab your 74s for your exchanges. Make sure to consider grabbing 78s and 79s to sell off as people try to scramble to do exchanges because they realize the cards weren't nearly as bad as they thought they were going to be. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of what you do to prepare. Now, again, make sure you take your pictures first. Knock out as many strikeout missions as you can. Then make sure you grab a hitter. And yeah, keep rotating and making sure that you're stacking as many guys as you can at once to try to knock things out. You can go with, a pitcher and all the players from one division to try to blow that out as fast as possible. That's probably the route that I would tell you to do, while still carrying at least one of the second pitchers that you grabbed. If I was you, I'd grab the pitcher that you want plus everybody from that specific division, then one of the other pitchers that you got from Team Affinity, so you can start knocking out that division, and then have a third one. So essentially you want to try to get 10 strikeouts, and then 5 strikeouts with that third guy. That way you'd be able to knock him out at least 10,000 TA every 2 games. That would be the preferable way to do it, I think. At least that's the way I try to do it. With that said, if you found any of this helpful, please consider leaving a like, clicking subscribe, and hitting the noti bell. It helps us defeat the algorithm. I hate that damn algorithm, but as always, I appreciate the time. And until next time, you have a good one.